Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala khairil mursaleen, Muhammadin al-Nabi al-Ummah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd, yaqulullahu ta'ala fil Quran al-Kareem. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi, ya ayyuha alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu tasliman. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Of course, this is October 1st, 2020. And the talk today is centered around a very unique subject. And that subject is, today is kind of a personal talk. It's about comeback. And after you've lived a certain amount of time, you either get used to facing life and life just beating you up, you know. It's like I was listening to some discussions that people were having. Of course, it's just on the phone and certain videos, and it's about they're mostly about life and people that life had chose them instead of them choosing life. It was people that was having a hard time. And one of the speakers was saying, are you living through a period where life that chose you? In other words, the battle that you're going through, did life choose you, or did you choose your battle? That's very, very important. If life chose you, that means you grew up in a certain environment, certain expectations, certain linguistic characteristics going on, certain foods in the environment, and that leads to education, and it also leads to not subliminal goals, but there are certain things that are expected of you. Well, I'll get this kind of job, I'll get that kind of job, I'll have certain expectations of family and what have you. And then that's when life chose you. You didn't choose what you wanted to do. Life, your history, everything, it had a lot to do with determining who you were, who you are as a person. And this happens to a whole group of people. In fact, some of the thinkers feel that it's at least 97% of the people in life, that's their life. Most of the people, they might have wanted to become an actor when they was a kid. They was pretty good at basketball and wanted to play, you know. They might have even been good at college. And the guy might have wanted to go to the NBA or give it a try. And the family told him, no, you better get you something that you can depend on, you know. And he might have had the habits of discipline that he learned from basketball, and he might become semi-successful doing what they said. He may become a coach or a trainer, and what he learned, he may be able to train other people to do what he always dreamed of doing. In fact, that happens a lot. That a person that wanted to be win a gold medal at the Olympics and something diverted them or something, but they training other people. Sometimes they put that training, that goal that they had in the back of their mind, and they transfer it to the other people. And when they see the people getting the gold medal, in their heart, they're getting it too. You know, they're getting it too because that was their goal. They didn't have to do it themselves. So there's a lot of ways to fulfill life's goals and what life hands us. But one thing about it, if life chooses you or chooses your battles, they become very difficult. They can become very difficult. There are some sayings. If you do what's easy in your life, life will be hard. But if you don't do what's hard, life will be easy. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. And it happens. If you look at, people look at a person and they're just amazed. Good God Almighty, I wouldn't want that to happen to me. I wouldn't want that. That's their whole self-talk. Look at what's happening to so-and-so. That must be hard. That must be a miserable life. Sometimes the whole town is looking at it. Sometimes even the whole country, they look at it and say, man, that has got to be. What I mean to say is, you can be living a life, okay, if you want to be a successful businessman or certain things like you might be playing football or basketball and all those things, and you may get a little injury and it could throw you off for a while. You may have to wait till next year to really heal deep down in, you know, and so those things are almost natural when you're trying to go somewhere. You know, those things happen to people. If you're going into business, you may fail. One guy I was listening to him, he had failed about 13 times in business. Well, some people fail more than that, but that failure is a teaching. Every time you fail, you learn something from that failure. You grow, you develop from that, and you keep at it, you keep working at it. Eventually, bam, it kicks in. But if you quit, that's all, it's all over. And a lot of things we studied, we always use the thing of the thermostat about self-image. I don't know if you remember those talks. But in self-image psychology, how you see yourself determines where you go. You know, like, and that thing, the thermostat has a comfort zone. And if you set it on 70 degrees, if it gets 68 degrees, you know, it's going to come in and heat it up a little bit. If it gets 72 degrees, the air going to come in, cool it down to keep that comfort zone. That's usually 4 degrees, between 68 and 72. That's a comfort zone in there. If people have comfort zones in their life, salespeople, if a salesperson is a $10,000 a month salesman, that's his regular thing. Or now they're $20,000 a month salesman. If they sell $5,000 or $10,000, hey man, they may get busy because they're $20,000 a month salesmen. And they got to get busy, and they pretty soon they up there. You know, they got back to their comfort zone. They may keep on going. They may have 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 a month salesman. If the guy's not really sharp, when he hits somewhere that's way out of his comfort zone, either up or down, he might spend a whole month fixing his files and everything. Why? because he's making $50,000 and he's a $20,000 man. You see what I mean? That's his comfort zone. And that comfort zone regulates where you're going. It really is a regulator, how you see yourself. That's why this thing about Black Lives Matter. Are you worth something? What's your self-esteem level? Are you valuable? Look at what they're doing. They're trying to make things, they're trying to make it so that, if you want to be free and don't want to get shot by the police, well, something is wrong with you. You're with Antifa, or you're with some dumb body, right?
Right.
And they act like, yeah, you're a radical leftist. Now remember, Antifa was around with Obama too.
Yeah.
So what the heck does Antifa have with the white man here now, running for president? Nothing.
Yeah.
Right? In fact, like we told the police, remember? They said, well, what about such and such? That's your folks.
Yeah.
That's your job. It don't have nothing to do with us.
He ain't denied either.
He can't deny it. What do you mean? Right? And the stuff is on camera sitting there.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What about him? Go catch him. Put him in jail. Beat him up. Whatever you want to do. That's your watch.
Right.
And now, Don trying to blame the other white man for stuff that's happening on his watch. Like, you the president, why are you not taking care of that?
Yeah.
Right? What do you mean? Me? This is your administration. So, this comfort zone, self-image, self-esteem, we talk about it all the time because it is so important. How do you feel about yourself? You know, that will determine how you weigh and measure yourself. That's what esteem means. It really means how do you weigh and how you measure yourself. Esteem, that's what it used to mean, to weigh and to measure. How do you weigh and how do you measure yourself? Okay? There's a lot of things that go along with the comfort zones, things like habits. We used to say a long time ago, in the beginning you make habits, in the end habits make you. What you do on a regular basis. And that's what we're dealing with right now. Is there certain things that are habitual, and we'll get into them later, you know. And I always think about, well, what made certain things different? Well, when I came home from the pen in '65, I had good habits. I didn't have no bad habits. And then I was just lifting weights, and my friends was boxers, so we would go up in the hills and run, on those horse trails. I still go up there today. They don't go up there. They only went up there because they were boxers. Those guys, George Foreman and all of them, they went up there in the hills in Oakland. In fact, you could see all the fighters. They used to run around the lake. Lake Merritt has a lake about 3 miles around in Oakland. And in those days, if you was running, you would be running on the sidewalk or sometime on a little bit of grass. But we wore them army boots in those days. So those things, we didn't know how bad they was for your legs. Oh my goodness.
Right, yeah.
Oh my goodness. I mean, personally, I didn't start running shoes till in 79 and 80. Stuff like that. I ran in army boots. We used to call them running boots, the paratrooper boots.
Right, yeah.
And I guess, so we ran in the hills because running on the lake around it, on concrete and them things.
Right, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Your knees out.
So anyway, we had good habits. So when things happen to us, like people trying to divert us from a certain direction. Well, we had good habits because we ran, we lift weights, and didn't drink and didn't do nothing. So we had good habits. That's one of the things that the government didn't like. There's nobody in town that has those type of habits. Those very good habits, and for Negroes, why if enough of them get those habits, we're in trouble. So they tried to divert it, but trying to divert us actually ran us right smack dab into developing our mission. It developed, in other words, we messed around with it so long that the process of evolution, pretty soon we adopted this as our program, as our mission. You know, because you get involved in things and pretty soon you just evolve into certain things. And let's talk about a comeback. When I remember Christmas period of 1971, if y'all remember, I told you that I got a call from a guy that I hadn't seen him since the train station in Germany in 1971, the winter of 71. We had left Copenhagen and went down to visit with his parents. One of his parents, his mother was in the army, and she was a sergeant, and his stepdaddy was in the army, was in the Air Force, and he was a sergeant, and they lived on the base in K-Town, they call it Kaiserslautern, in Germany. And we went down there. I didn't come back from Africa, and I got to get busy doing something. I done discovered the whole world of Africa. Now, I done left that environment, and I'm in Copenhagen. And I'm there for a certain period of time, and so during that Christmas time, 1971, we went down to visit his family and spend Christmas with his family. To me, it was like being in the U.S. because it was Quaker Oats and all that around, you know.
Yeah.
And so it was very familiar. And I was listening to certain music. They was a certain age, but the kind of music they listened to was just the kind that I kind of liked. Anyway, I just was tripping that whole period. Then on the way back, I was driving this, I had a big old VW van. I bought it in Paris. One of them hippie vans, a Volkswagen van. And I didn't know much about them, so I didn't have enough oil in it. On the way back, I'm driving on the Autobahn, and you could drive as fast as you want. Boy, blew up, bang. So somebody come by, picked us up, took us to the train station. And the train station, we looked around, and they had stole all of our bags, almost. It wasn't they had stolen, the government stole the bags, because that was too quick. So anyway, they did me a favor, because you should have saw the clothes. Good God Almighty, I left America, man, did I have clothes. Had clothes, make hats. And man, you would have thought it was one of them white women that was on a boat trip somewhere, and you see all the porters carrying her luggage. That's the way I was. Boy, did I have luggage. They stole it all. That was right after Christmas, and I had said to myself, I'm going to make a comeback. I'm leaving here January 1st, 1972. And I did. I went back the brother was saying, man, I want to stay here and get no stuff. I said, well, you can stay here all you want. I'm going back to Copenhagen, wave bye to everybody, put a few things together, and I'm gone. When I came back on this side, I had a little handbag, about this big, and the clothes I had on, and that's it. You know, and so I always think about that as my first comeback. I went to Lima, Peru, and as soon as I got there, the police had a sweep of all the malcontents or what have you, and so I was sitting there in jail with all the malcontents. My first day in Lima, Peru. It wasn't the police knew I was there, and they wanted to welcome me to Peru. So I'd be very cautious. So I stayed there a while. I used to hang out around the statue. The statue was Jorge Washington, George Washington. And so if I go back to Lima, I can know where I'm at based on that statue. There's a statue in the salon where you sit down and you can talk on this side of the thing and you can hear people on the other. And I remember it was a white boy and a Negro girl. The Negro girl was from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. I said, good God Almighty. Of course, that's where I'm from. You know, and it was a white boy, and the white boy was Wellington. Anyway, things got so funny acting that he said, well, you can see the stripes on I was acting like he was the police. But I'm friendly, but he said, well, you can see the stripes on my arm. And, you know, sergeant stripes like. I said, yeah. Then I went on to Bolivia. When I got to Bolivia, certain things happened, but in Bolivia is where I spent my first money on whatever the product I was. But then I came across the lake from La Paz, then I came back to Peru, and the police surrounded the place again. Guess what I had to do? I had to hide whatever I had bought. Yeah, that was my first purchase of it. And so I just got out of town. Because they do that now, but when they did it then, I was dirty. If the police is hanging over your yard looking at you like this, and you got dope